Test.
Ah.
Oh, now we got echo.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Is our mic working?
Is that working? Boy, technical difficulties.
Oh my goodness.
Awesome.
Well, actually, we had to switch our setup, so we're actually on a different computer than we have been for streaming, because my brother is sick and he's in the room that we normally. My brother is sick and he's in the room that we normally stream in, so we had to go to a different computer, and we don't have all of our setup
so
here, so we had to that's why we had technical difficulties, because we were dealing with a different computer and we don't have our regular mic plugged into this one.
So I am Mr. Gleen.
And I am Maven, because you did not hear that unless you were able to read lips. Then
yes.
You did not hear that at all in the beginning. Sorry about that.
Yes.
We are talking about NXT tonight. And also, at the end of the show, we're going to talk about some AEW updates that we have recently found out about. And I think there's something for Elimination Chamber this weekend.
Yeah, there was a match that got changed a little bit in Elimination Chamber.
And we also have an update on Sasha Banks, which we will talk about in the end, closer to the end of our stream. So,
yes, we will talk about all that and much, much more if you want us to.
So I think we should just hop into NXT.
All right. And you asked me to say this name, so I guess I'm going to take a shot at it.
Yeah.
Dominic Dijakovic. Is that right?
Dijakovic, I think.
Versus Shane Thorne.
This is the opening to the show. I thought it was a decent match. I don't think it was a bad match, but it wasn't, spectacular. You know what I mean?
It was okay. It wasn't something that, I was... What?
Oh. It wasn't something, super great, but it wasn't terrible either. It was just like a regular opening match to any other show, I would say, because I feel like most matches are like this, where they're not super great, but they're not, bad either.
Yeah.
So, that was the opening match of the show, and the winner was Dominic Dijakovic.
Yeah, I think that's his name.
It's very difficult to pronounce.
Yes, definitely. I practiced it 14 times. I still didn't get it right.
Then we had an Undisputed Era promo, a promo video of them backstage talking about Adam Cole's match later that evening against Ricochet, and about how they're going to get all the gold. And yeah, they had a little speed bump in the beginning by losing their titles to begin with, but they're going to come back from it, and they're going to be totally fine because they're going to get all the gold. And they did say that it was, instead of Roderick Strong being in the tag team, it's going to be Bobby Fish instead. So I thought that was a little interesting. So then Roderick Strong can go for singles titles instead with Adam Cole. So I got that little bit of information out of that. Then we have a tag team match with Humberto.
It's Humberto.
Humberto?
Yes.
Humberto.
Carrillo.
There you go. There's his name. And Stacy Irvin Jr. versus the Street Profits. The winners of this match were the Street Profits. And then they got into a whole big thing. There was too many S's.
Well, it ended up being a lot of what WWE's been doing, where they have 14 different guys come out. Only this was 14 different tag teams.
So it started off with them cutting a promo about wanting the titles, and then they ended up having a whole bunch of other tag teams coming out. So we had Barthel and Aichner, I believe is how you pronounce it. I haven't seen him wrestle very much, and I haven't heard them announce his name very much on NXT, so I think that's how you pronounce the last name, but I could be wrong. They come out and talk about the opportunity of wanting to take on the War Raiders, and how it should be them and not the other guys. Then we have
Orny Lorcan and Danny Burch.
Yeah. They come out, they try to pick a fight. They get in the ring, they get in each other's faces, and then the War Raiders end up coming out and they talk about, you know, you want the title so bad, then why don't you just take a shot? Like, bring it, you know? So they came out and they started to walk down the ramp, and then the Undisputed Era, everybody except Adam Cole came out and attacked them from behind and threw them into the ring, and then Undisputed Era, like, ran back up to the top of the ramp, and they just let them fight it out, and the War Raiders ended up standing tall and victorious out of the 3 tag teams that had ambushed them and attacked them. So.
Yes. Again, it was a lot like what's happening in WWE right now with several matches having, like, you know, 20,000 people come out to fight people, and they fight each other. In this case, there was really no fighting until the War Raiders came out.
Yeah.
And then that's when the Undisputed attacked them.
If anybody's gonna get a shot at the titles, I feel like it almost would be Undisputed Era. Like, to me, that just makes sense because, like, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
But I think that they would probably be the ones to, like, get the shot at the titles first. Then Street Profits would be in a close second, I would say.
Yeah, probably. I'd agree.
Because they've been pretty big recently and been on top for quite a bit. Then actually, if we go back a little bit, I kind of wrote this down weird, but we had Cassius Ohno. Cassius? I said that right. Not
yes.
Cassius. I did! Wow! That's shocking because before I didn't say his name right. Cassius Ohno, he had a promo. He came out and he talked about how, you know, I've been in NXT for 2 years, and, you know, he started off by saying, and, you know, you fans, you got all those happy faces, and then he was like, I hate it! And then he went to say that he's going to leave NXT, whether that's all a part of a storyline or, like, that's actually true, I don't know. I'm assuming it's part of a storyline.
I would assume so, unless they're going to bring him up to the main roster.
So he, like, cut a promo, was like, I'm going to leave NXT, and, like, you know, trash talking to the crowd and everything. And then we had Keith Lee come out, and he came out from behind and, like, just, like, straight up, like, punched Cassius Ohno, like, right between the eyes. And then he, you know, got on the mic and he said, you know, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Bye. So I'm thinking if they're going to do something with Cassius Ohno, they're going to do it with Keith Lee.
I'm assuming they're setting up a match with these two.
If I remember correctly, right back before the takeover, Cassius Ohno had a match with Keith Lee, and Keith Lee is supposed to be, like, friends with Matt Riddle or something. And so they're supposed to, like, be friends. And so he went on to fight him when Matt Riddle couldn't because he was injured. Then that was the end of that. And then we had a match between Tainara Conchi and Aaliyah, and Vanessa Bourne was at ringside. And Aaliyah ended up winning this match after Vanessa Bourne got involved. And then we had Shayna Baszler come out after that, and she, like, came down to the ring on Rampage and, like, just took out all 3 women that were in the ring, followed by she was followed by Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke. And then they all 3 of them took out all 3 women that were in the ring, leaving Shayna Baszler to be in the ring and cut a promo saying, you know, you don't want to mess with us. Like, there's 3 of us, and believe me, like, we're gonna beat you up. Like, just straight up, don't make us mad, and we won't have any issues. But, you know, the women's division here doesn't seem to think that way. So, you know, that's the way it is. So that happened. I don't really know why Shayna Baszler came out at the end of this match. I know there was a promo before that in the show with Kairi Sane and Io Shirai, and it was like a backstage interview from last week when Io Shirai had pinned Shayna Baszler. They talked about that and, like, how she should be the next one in line for the title shot, and then Bianca Belair got involved and essentially said, like, I did all the work of, like, getting her down, but then you tagged in like a fool and pinned her. So what are you even talking about? I am way ahead of you, and so, like, what are you talking about? So I think they're going to lead into something with that. With at least Bianca Belair and Io Shirai. So then maybe they'll be, like, the number 1 contenders for the title, I guess.
I hope not, because I don't, now I've lost my train of thought here. I don't think that either one, I don't think they're real good. I mean, personally.
I actually like Io Shirai.
Well, I think they're good, but I mean, I don't know what they're doing here. So I don't know,
I just don't know why Shayna Baszler came out. Like,
well, that's what I'm talking about. Is I don't think
to me that didn't make any sense as to why she came out.
Shafir and Jessamine Duke, I don't think are very good. So I don't think they should have anything to do with any type of tag team because, in my opinion, they don't put on a good show right now. They need some work.
The only reason that they're as big as they are right now is because of Shayna Baszler.
Well, yeah, definitely. Because I don't see them like getting over or anything.
And because of that they were in like MMA UFC stuff before, so people knew them from there. And then when they made the switch over here, it was like, woo, we like already have a name. It's like Ronda Rousey, you know what I mean? Where they already have a name somewhere else, but they can just come over here and like build upon that, but they aren't even like great. You know what I mean?
No. And well, they need a lot of work in ring and on the mic and
because it's like it's two different things.
It is. It's because you have to be good on the mic and be able to, you know, do some talking, quick-witted talking, and entertain the crowd. It can't just be, I'm going to knock the crap out of you, and that's the way it's going to be. You kind of have to have quick comebacks with whatever, you know, whoever you're doing a promo with. You have to have quick comebacks for that.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that right now they don't have that. You don't see them use the mic much.
But they're getting you have to admit, they're getting a lot of TV time. Like,
well, they're getting a lot of TV time.
The last 4 weeks, they've gotten a lot of TV time, and they've gotten, like, opportunities to wrestle last week they were in the main event of the show. The week before that, they were in the main event of the show. You know, and then the week before that was TakeOver.
Well, maybe they're giving them a
something to do with
shot
that.
To be good. But I mean, but the fact is I personally don't think that they are that good.
Yeah.
And you know, so until they got to get better at wrestling, they got to get better with their promos.
Yeah. And
then we may be able to talk about them, you know, being in good shape to, you know, be a major factor in tag teams or even just in WWE in general.
Yeah.
I think Shayna Baszler does okay right now. I think she still needs some work. But, you know, overall, I think that unless they improve a lot, they're going to have to, like, work because there's a lot of other wrestlers right now.
Well, my thoughts as to why they're giving those 3 in specific a lot of TV time is due to the fact that they want them to have a lot of TV time so then they can get better, so then they can go up to the main roster so we can see this 4 horsewomen of UFC versus 4 horsewomen of WWE.
Well, and that's possibly what they're doing. I mean, I don't know exactly. So, you know, it's I don't know. I mean, I think that they need to fix something. And so we'll see what happens. I mean, it's I don't like them personally, but, you know, I'm sure there's people out there that do.
I was going to say, I don't hate them. Like, I mean, I like Shayna Baszler, and I feel like Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke, they could have a lot of potential if they work for it, and they get better.
Yeah.
So I don't
they're gonna have to get better.
I don't flat out just dislike them, but I definitely think they do need to improve.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they definitely need to improve because they're not good now. Anyway, we next have the next match, which was Taynara and Conti.
We just talked about that.
Did I say that? Oh, yeah, we did.
We just talked about that because that's where the Shayna Baszler stuff was happening.
Next match is
well, then we have
a promo of Velveteen Dream and Johnny Gargano.
For next week. Next week, Johnny Gargano is putting his title on the line for the very first time against Velveteen Dream, who won his opportunity back at Worlds Collide 2 weeks ago now? 2 weeks ago. And their match is next week. I'm actually looking forward to this match a lot. I don't know, man. I almost feel like Velveteen Dream is gonna win, and Johnny Gargano's title reign is gonna be like short.
If they keep his title reign short,
but I also feel like Johnny Gargano could win.
Well, if they keep his title reign short, they're gonna do one of two things with him. They're gonna have him be a tag team with
Ciampa.
Yeah, and then they may move both of them up because the tag team division in Raw and SmackDown right now is not real good.
Sucks.
Up on the main roster.
It's like
and
terrible.
Or they may just move him up by himself and let him have a test at it. I mean, they had him in
the Royal Rumble.
So, you know,
the day after he won his title, which is why I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know. Like, I would say Velveteen Dream is going to win the match. Because I think they're going to move Johnny Gargano up. Because he's been in NXT for a really long time. And I think he's ready to go to the main roster. I think he could definitely shake things up. And also another possibility, taking this into account, that the Superstar Shakeup is in April 15th and 16th. That SmackDown and that Raw. I don't know. I don't know if they'll wait to move him up until then, and he'll keep his title for now, or if Velveteen Dream he will have like the shortest title reign ever.
Might have the shortest title reign ever. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I just feel that they're going to.
I think it'd be a smart decision because it would definitely shake things up and like make things different. But the thing about Tommaso Ciampa going up, like you said, if they were to move them up as like a tag team for the tag team division, Ciampa still has his NXT championship.
Well, that wouldn't be hard to get rid of. I mean, he loses to Adam Cole or somebody. I mean, you know, they could do that pretty easy and have the tag team champions, or have a new champion with the NXT championship and have a new North American champion.
Yeah, I guess that could work. But I definitely think Gargano's gonna go up to the main roster. If not now, then like the Superstar Shakeup.
Possible. We'll see what happens.
That's my thoughts.
Definitely possible.
So then, the last match of the evening, the main event that you all have been waiting for. Ricochet versus Adam Cole. I actually really like this match.
I did too. I thought it was a good match.
And for what, like, with Ricochet's knee being taken out by Adam Cole, like, the things he did, I thought were really cool. At one point in the match, Ricochet, his knee, like, he couldn't get on the top rope because his knee kept giving out. And then, like, he was, like, here on the ring apron, and then he, like, just hopped up on the top rope, like, one leg, and then, like, just, like, jumped off, like, with one leg. Like, off the top rope. Yeah. On one leg. And I was like, that was kind of cool. Like,
Ricochet's pretty athletic.
He is. He's very athletic, and he does, like, really cool flips and stuff. Like, he's very bendy.
Yeah, he's pretty flexible. He's pretty, like I said, he's pretty athletic. He does some pretty outstanding moves. Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff he's just probably dangerous. I mean, with the way he's throwing his body around and stuff. So,
I mean, yeah. Like his finishing move, like the splash.
Yeah. It's
like 367,000 turns in the air and then like splat.
Yeah.
It's like really cool. But it's like you don't see anybody doing stuff like him, which is why he's another one to watch going up to the main roster.
Yeah, I think that, you know, there's
like
the
guys that are down in NXT right now. Okay, so
I think there's both Ricochet, Adam Cole. I think Aleister Black could move up.
Definitely.
I think that
Johnny Gargano
could move up. I think Ciampa could move up.
I think Velveteen Dream could even move up.
Yes.
Everybody was waiting for Velveteen Dream to be in the Rumble.
Yeah.
So everybody already is like, move him up because he's so big in NXT, and like, he's a good wrestler, but, like, it's his character that carries him. You know what I mean?
Well, and you know what? I think that the one thing they've done...
Ricochet is bendy.
Yes, he is bendy.
He is bendy.
I think the one thing that they have done with the NXT in general, and I understand that they only have an hour show compared to 3 hours for Raw and 2 hours for SmackDown. SmackDown will be becoming 3 hours soon.
I was going to say, there were rumors that were speculating that NXT might potentially, with how big the ratings have been recently, like with the halftime heat show that they had, and that was on Facebook and YouTube and the app, WWE app, or network, and there was talk that their show might potentially move to being, like, on a TV network, and then it would go for longer, instead of being an hour, like 2 hours or something.
Well, and I think as long as they keep the storylines going like they do now.
And if they do something like what they did with Halftime Heat, you know, where it was, like, action and people were, like, really into it, you know?
But you can't have an hour match every night. I mean,
no.
It's going to be issues. Every time, you can't do it every week.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, it had that, like... It had all 6 of the guys in it that were, like, super big.
But the storylines that they tell in NXT right now, and the way they work the storylines, is a lot better than what they're doing on SmackDown and Raw. Mm-hmm. And, you know, people can follow the storylines. There's some stuff that happens that you don't expect to have happen.
Yeah.
So I think it keeps people on their toes, but it keeps people entertained with the way they're doing the storylines.
Yeah.
I mean, even though, you know, Ono, I don't think is great. I think he's pretty good on the mic. You know, from the couple times I've seen him, but I don't know how good he is. You know, I don't think he's a great wrestler or anything.
No.
But he's good on the mic, and they keep the storyline going with him.
Yeah.
And so you have these guys that are good with the mic, and I've been saying this all along. If you're good with the mic, you've got about 70% of being able to be on WWE and be a big star.
Elias.
Exactly. I mean, Elias, me personally, terrible wrestler. I think he's a terrible wrestler. But because he works the mic so well and keeps people entertained, and he gets the crowd involved. And right now, NXT does a good job. Most of the wrestlers in NXT right now get the crowd involved. Now, granted, they're in a smaller venue, so they don't have as many people to, you know, try and get over and get excited. And then when they scream and yell, the smaller venue, of course, sounds louder.
Yeah.
But you can see a reaction out of the crowd, where a lot of Raw and SmackDown right now, there is not a lot of pop from the crowd.
Bum bum bum. Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I mean it's you know, and it's, I don't know why. I think a lot of it's just because people are tired of seeing the same things over and over and over and over and over again, and they need to change.
Yeah.
So, you know, build your storylines, but follow your storylines. I mean, make your storylines,
and don't make it some weird thing where, like, every week you add in 2 new guys to the previous storyline that made no sense to begin with. Like.
Yeah. And you know, like they used to, you wouldn't fight the same guy every week.
Yeah.
And it seems like now it's the same matches week after week after week after week, and nothing changes.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, you know, you start to lose kind of the crowd, and
people are like, well, we saw this last week, so,
yeah.
You know. So
they need to, you know, they need to really take a look at the 6 main guys, and look at possibly moving them up.
Yeah.
Now, you know, the women's side, I would look at Shirai and
Sane,
and definitely consider moving them up, and possibly Shayna Baszler, although I think she still needs some work in ring. But she'd be no different than Ronda Rousey. I think she'd be like
just as big.
You know, I think she would have the same issues that Ronda Rousey has right now, because I don't think Ronda Rousey is a great wrestler. I think she's improved.
Well, the issue with Ronda Rousey right now is her promos. Like, people can't take her seriously on her promos because she screws up so much, and then the crowd is like, boo.
But
and then she lets it get to her, and she'll, like, make a comment about it, and then the crowd's like, she gets made fun of for it.
Well, she should play into that then, and that's where she needs to play into it. And if the crowd makes fun of her, then she has to play into it. The thing is, you have to be quick on your feet with what you're saying. And like I said, when you're coming from MMA or UCF or UFC or whatever, UFC, UCF, University of Central Florida. When you're coming from the
University of Central Florida,
you know, a lot of it is I'm going to talk trash. I'm going to knock you out. And that's pretty much what it said. Where in wrestling, because it is entertainment, you have to be able to come up with lines more than I'm going to knock you out.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is where Ronda Rousey has her issues right now, because that's what she's like, I'm going to knock you out, you know?
Well, I don't think she's a great wrestler. The only reason she got to where she is
because she's Ronda Rousey.
Is because she's Ronda Rousey.
And because of how big she was in UFC.
Yeah.
Because she was a fighter.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, Brock Lesnar is the same way. I don't think Brock Lesnar is a great wrestler. As far as I know he's a great wrestler in college and things like that, but I don't think he's a great wrestler for WWE. Just because of the way there's not a lot of excitement with his matches and things like that.
You know how they're going to go.
And so, you know, why he gets over is because he's Brock Lesnar, and either people really like him
or they really hate him.
And so that's why Brock Lesnar gets over, and that's why Ronda Rousey gets over, is just because of who they are and where they came from. It's not because they're great at what they're doing. So, yeah. So, anyway, Ricochet ends up winning the match.
And then Undisputed Era comes out. And I said that from the beginning. I said, well, I thought Adam Cole was going to win because the Undisputed Era was going to help him. But Undisputed Era came out after Ricochet won the match. They ended up beating up Ricochet. Then Aleister Black came out of nowhere, which I was like, huh? Aleister Black? Like,
well,
I mean, I know they did like
of what they've done over the last couple weeks. With them
that's like what I was thinking, but like the same time, I was like, Aleister Black. Like, they could have brought Velveteen Dream out, but they like chose Aleister Black, which I thought was kind of weird and different, and I wasn't expecting Aleister Black to come out. And then he came out to like save Ricochet, but then he got beat up by the Undisputed Era, thrown out of the ring, and then Adam Cole and the rest of Undisputed Era stood tall and made their, like, you know, little whatever they are.
The funny thing about it is when they were doing all that, Adam Cole just like standing over him talking about how I told you that, you know, we would beat you down and all this stuff. Adam Cole just lost the match.
Win the match.
So, you know, I suppose, yeah, he beat him down, but he lost the match. So I guess if the beatdown's more important than winning the match, then I guess, you know, the Undisputed Era got the best of it. But if their goal is to like be champions and like win it all the time, then they didn't do what they said they were going to do. So that was the only thing with that segment
that kind of didn't really
didn't make sense to me. So, you know, again, I like those guys.
I do too. I love the Undisputed Era. They're like, if not that's a lie. They are like my favorite tag team in NXT right now. Like, I love everything Adam Cole has done. I really like what Undisputed Era as a tag team has done. Bobby Fish is really good on the mic. He can, like, draw you in, you know. He's kind of that, like, sleazeball that'll, you know, call you out, beat you down, stand victorious.
He does, but the thing about the other Undisputed Era guys, I think that they need to break Adam Cole away from them.
I would 100% agree with that.
To help them work on mic skills so people can see what they can or can't do.
Yes, because Adam Cole does all the talking. And when Adam Cole wasn't in the picture, and it was just Bobby Fish back at TakeOver, Bobby Fish did all the talking, and people like they poked fun at it. You know, Adam Cole's not out here to tell you what to say or whatever. You know, like the guys that were on commentary when they did the pre-show poked fun at that, and he was like, "Oh, shut up." You know, I'm out here to pull my own weight. This is what I'm doing. So I would 100% agree with that statement that I think they should break away Adam Cole from Undisputed Era. As much as I love Undisputed Era, I definitely think it might benefit the rest of the guys. And, maybe they move Adam Cole up to the main roster and the rest of them just stay down in NXT for a little longer so they can sharpen those mic skills or
if they don't break
whatever.
If they don't break them up completely, have one, everybody turn on Adam Cole or something like that, then it gives them the opportunity to work with the rest of the Undisputed Era guys within, NXT, see how they do, and if they're good enough, they could bump them up to the main roster.
And then that would be another tag team for the tag team. There's a lot of good, tag team options down in NXT right now, which is what WWE needs. Because their tag team division is not good. I've said that multiple times. You've said that multiple times. It's just not good. Their tag team division lacks a lot. How about tag teams? So they need something to fix it. They need to bring more tag teams in. They have to do something. Otherwise, it's just not even worth having a tag team division.
Yeah. I mean, right now it is weak. So they need to really work on that and get some of those guys that are down in NXT that are kind of, they got to pull the right teams up though. They pulled up Heavy Machinery 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. 3 weeks ago.
We saw them one match and haven't seen them since, have we?
They were in a match on SmackDown for the title shot, which the Usos ended up winning. And then they were in the same one on Monday Night Raw, which Dash and Dawson, the Revival, ended up winning. So both times they didn't use them in any, they weren't the focal point, so people wanted to care.
Yeah.
About Heavy Machinery. If they did down in NXT, they bring them up here and they ruin them. Because
that seems to be what they're doing with a lot of,
talent.
Yeah. We haven't seen Asuka since the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. What is Asuka doing? Is Asuka...
She's your SmackDown champion.
So what are we doing?
And you haven't seen her.
I was scrolling through Twitter the other day, and there were people, I don't even remember what tweet it was, but, people were Asuka? Where is she?
Yeah.
Why aren't people trying to go for her championship? Ronda Rousey isn't the only champion. There's two different shows, and I don't know where it was, but I saw somewhere that something said, possibly someone from Raw going for the SmackDown Women's Championship to, compete with the Charlotte, Becky going for the Raw Women's Championship, and they're both from SmackDown. So, I mean, I don't know, but we haven't seen Asuka in, weeks. So...
No, I wish they would just unify the titles. Don't have a SmackDown, don't have a Raw. Just have one title between the two shows. I think, because they're doing crossover anyway right now.
Yes.
So you just as well just have one title between the two shows for both the men's and women's divisions. For tag team divisions, don't have split.
I did read somewhere that the Raw Women's Tag Team Champions, the Women's Tag Team Championships are going to go back and forth between shows. It's not going to be, today we have Raw Women's Tag Team Champions, and tomorrow we're going to have SmackDown Women's Tag Team Champions too. Because that wouldn't make any sense. There's legit 3 tag teams on each show. What are you going to do with that? So they're going to have them go back and forth, have the Raw Women's Tag Team Championships go back and forth from each show. Not every single week, but every couple weeks, So
it's just going to be a WWE Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, they're just going to be the WWE
that's what they need to do.
Raw Women's.
I mean, I don't,
Or Raw Women's. Oh my gosh. Just the WWE Women's
That's
Tag
what they
Team
need
division.
to do. I mean, that's what they should be doing. It should just be one title between the two shows and do it that way.
Yeah.
I think it'd make things
a lot easier.
Well, and I think if they make things more interesting, it'd be a lot more right now, they cross over with your big stars, but they could do a lot of crossover with other people too into shows and form feuds that way rather than just. I don't think the talent level right now is good enough to have 2 shows where you're trying to create storylines.
Yeah.
And that might be one of the issues they have is just the talent level isn't real good necessarily or they're not, and I know they're not using them right.
Mm-hmm.
They're not using a lot of the talent right, definitely. But it just might not be deep enough to have 2 shows running at the same time.
Yeah.
So if they crossed them over, I think you can make it work and have 2 good shows out of it.
Yeah. I would agree.
So we have the updates here. The Elimination Chamber match between Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin
is now a no disqualification match. It was changed to that because apparently they both get disqualified easily, as we've been shown. So Braun Strowman got disqualified by entering the ring in a tag team match when he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, maybe it's for the better. I'm not super excited for this match because I feel like I already know the way it's going to go down. I'll go into more detail on that on Friday when we do our stream on predictions for Elimination Chamber. But I'm just not excited for this match. I've seen it multiple times, and it's just filler at this point.
Yeah. So we have that.
And then also Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
It was either yesterday or Monday. I think it was Monday. After the show, there was a thing on WWE.com released saying that Sasha Banks' whereabouts in the Elimination Chamber match are to be determined because she has re-aggravated a shoulder injury. But then today, after more physical therapy or more rehab, she is now cleared to compete this Sunday in the Elimination Chamber match. So.
And I think now, because of that,
I said Boston Hug Connection.
I think they'll win the titles.
As I said in my... yeah.
So now we get to our AEW updates. First off, they are close to signing a TV deal.
Mm-hmm.
This is coming from Chris Jericho. You can check it out. There's information on Wrestling Inc.
It's where we get a lot of our information. If we don't get it on Twitter, just scrolling through either of our feeds, we normally get it on Wrestling Inc. They're a really good place to get information on a lot of different companies, AEW, WWE, and stuff like that.
So anyway, he talks and says that they're close to they have a few potential people interested in signing AEW to a contract and being able to put them on television, which I think is a huge deal. They get a TV deal. I think that they could become a contender in, with the not initially, but I think over time, if they get a TV deal, they could become a contender with the WWE.
I'm going to say this right now. They sold out their tickets for the Double or Nothing pay-per-view event in May in 4 minutes.
And now they are in a smaller venue again, not as big as what
But as much speculation has been around
and
it,
I know
and people going back and forth like, oh well, I don't really know, and this, that, and the other thing about it, and I'll believe it when I see it. Like they sold out really fast for.
Well, a lot of times it's the newness to see how things go, but they have enough stars that it's not really new. I mean, when you have the stars that they have, they're coming in. Omega, they're coming in with the Young Bucks, Cody.
Yeah.
You're already coming in with ahead of the game because you have some stars that are going to be there. It's not like you're having a bunch of nobodies that you have no clue.
And they're supposed to have, if I remember correctly, in one of our previous streams, I think we talked about this, that Sting might potentially show up at one of their pre-events to this show, like the weekend of it or something, to sign stuff. I don't know. It was something like that. You remember seeing that? Where Sting would show up, and Sting is a big deal. So that's big names that are gonna draw people in, and
Well, and I think honestly, I said right now they're in a smaller venue, so it was a little easier to sell out. I think if they would have gotten into a bigger venue, they wouldn't have sold out in 4 minutes.
But they still would have sold out pretty quick.
They still would have sold out with, because I've been entertained with some of the stuff I've watched from them.
I have too. Just from the pre-show thing, the all in, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I was impressed with that. Like, they started storylines there that I'm like, I'm curious to see where they go, with that,
Yeah. So I mean, they're ahead of the game. They are definitely looking to make a big splash here.
I agree.
And I think they have a good shot at doing it. One of the things that Jericho talked about was, because of what they are doing, the bigger companies, WWE, New Japan Wrestling, they're all starting to sign people to longer deals and more money. So, it could be, that the new blood came in and said, hey, we're gonna shake things up, and now they've helped benefit some of these other wrestlers and gotten them kind of some more money and a bigger, longer deals. So.
And I quote what he said, and he said, "And I say to all of them, you're welcome. We are the reason you have more money."
Yeah. So they're shaking things up. They're doing really well with this.
I think they could. I mean, I don't think they'll ever be as big as WWE is, just because WWE is a big thing. But I think a definite contender.
Yes, definitely.
To take away from views of Raw or SmackDown or NXT or pay-per-views or whatever during the week, if they sign a big TV deal,
Yeah. Definitely, I agree. I think that they land a TV deal. That's the key. Because right now I think they've got there's fan support, people interested in it. They land a TV deal. WWE better look out, because at least initially.
And I mean, maybe this will be the fire. This will be what lights the fire under WWE's butts. So then they start making better storylines, and they start getting better talent, and you know what I mean. They start using their talent in better ways than they are right now.
Well, hopefully here, I remember when WWE had, or WCW kind of stepped up and challenged WWE, because WCW was throwing money out there and bringing in big stars and things like that. And then their storylines went dumb. And so WWE ended up squashing them.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it was because of their storylines.
I don't think that's going to be...
So if you keep your storylines fresh...
I was going to say, at least with AEW, I don't think that'll be the case.
And, going, I think that AEW has a shot at doing it. And because of the people that are actually running the show with Cody, the Young Bucks, Omega, Jericho, I think with those guys, because I think they're going to have a say in matches and how things go, they are wrestlers that understand how to put on a good show. And so I think that they are going to really help this brand get over, and, eventually I think that they have a shot at challenging WWE for the fan support and everything else.
Definitely.
One other thing that from Jericho's interview, they talked about a video game, for those of you that are video game buffs. They talked about the AEW having a video game coming out.
That'd be cool.
And he said, and this is a quote, it's probably going to be here's exactly what he said. Kenny travels the world going to game conventions, which is one of the guys that's involved with Kenny Omega. Kenny
Omega. He's a big gamer. He likes games,
Specifically because he's such a gamer, not knowing for sure, but I'd say there's a pretty damn good chance there's going to be an AEW game, and it's probably going to be better than most, because Cody, Young Bucks, and Omega probably going to have a hand in developing it. So, for those of you that are video game fans going, hey, can we get a video game? Sounds like that there's a possibility that could happen too.
And then that would be something to take on the 2K, WWE 2K games,
The one thing they've done is, with all of this whole AEW thing, is they've built it. And, even though we're still 5 months away, 3 months away, 4 months away from them
actually having a
match and having any type of, any of that going on. There's a buzz, there's talk, people are interested. They have to keep it going.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think they need to have, I think when they have the actual TV contract signed,
mm-hmm.
I think they'll have another, and maybe they have one scheduled. We'll have to check and see. Have another press deal like they had before where they brought out some of the wrestlers.
Yeah.
And I think they'll bring out the wrestlers again and do some of that, which I think helps with everything.
Because they started to build storylines.
And made things interesting.
Like, even with the Pac and Hangman Page stuff, like, Pac wasn't physically there because he's still on another wrestling promotion, isn't he?
I believe so.
I believe so, because he had a championship. But they started, like, even though Pac wasn't there, he had, like, a video that they put on there, and it drew people in with that. And then, Hangman Page retaliated, like, oh, well, I get it, you're not here, but, why don't we make this match, or whatever? Like, why don't we do this? And you and me at Double or Nothing, and we'll see how this goes,
Yes, definitely.
So, like, even though people weren't there, they still had, like, a video, or, a quote that they had said or something that they'd sent in, or whatever, you know what I mean? They had something ready for it. It wasn't just like, oh, well, we're going to talk about this guy, but he's actually not going to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they've done a good job promoting it.
Mm-hmm.
They need to keep it up. I think, and if they have a video game that draws in a new crowd, because there'll be some that aren't necessarily huge wrestling followers that will play the video game. Just
because the people like video games.
So yeah.
It draws in a whole other crowd. For sure.
I think that we're done. Make sure you leave a comment and ask us.
And always feel free when you are hanging out in our stream. If you have any questions about anything or anything you want to say, just let us know in the chat. We're always ready and willing to answer.
Yeah, when my chat's working, right? I suppose that make sure you subscribe to us.
Yeah.
The only way you know when we're coming up is if you subscribe to us, other than just looking at my schedule, because sometimes that doesn't always go the way we want to.
Obviously.
So subscribe to us, then you know, and make sure you have notifications turned on, so then you know that we are going to be going live. Give us a thumbs up, or give us a thumbs down. I don't care which one you give us. I prefer the thumbs up.
But just,
but
when you give
let us know what we're doing good,
down,
what we're doing wrong,
let us know.
We can fix it. We are working on getting a better setup than what we got.
Obviously, tonight this wasn't our regular setup that we normally have. As I said before, whether the mic was working or not, my brother's sick. He's in the room that we normally stream in, and we did not have our regular camera, microphone, background business set up like we normally do.
Yeah, we didn't have a rate,
So, it just we just have to roll with the punches, and this is what happened tonight. But we will be back on Friday to talk about our Elimination Chamber predictions for the matches, and then we will also be back on Sunday.
After the Elimination Chamber.
After the Elimination Chamber, to talk about how the pay-per-view went. So, again, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you know when we are up on both those dates. I think that is pretty much it for today. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and we will see everybody on Friday.
Peace out.
Bye, guys.